This annual Australia Day hate fest is actually much worse this time than you've been told. And it's not just now the disrespect for our country, all that same yammer every year. This has just become dangerous in ways most people aren't yet seeing. I guess a lot of people, I think, are starting to sense it. But let me now put it all together. We have, as you know, many of our institutions, our elites, these days trashing the country instead of reminding us to be so grateful to it and to protect it, trying to build some sort of unity in a country that seems to be falling apart tribally. Now, none of that's new, although this year there is a lot more of it, more than ever. This time, some 150 councils are refusing to hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day, on Sunday. That is a record. In Victoria, our most left-wing state, a third of them, in yellow here, will not hold those ceremonies either. And even ones that will are shamefaced about it, like Stonington Council, which is again, this is in Melbourne, holding a healing ceremony as if the day is so shocking that you need to see a doctor. Now, some of these haters are also so sneaky. You'll remember last year, public outrage forcing Australia's second biggest chain of pubs to drop its stupid ban on celebrating Australia Day. Oh, when we found out, oh, so sorry, we made a mistake. But it tricked us. Despite its promises to do better, this Hong Kong-controlled Australian venue co is now refusing to even advertise that it is Australia Day this weekend. It's like China trying to weaken our country. Come celebrate the public holiday, this company says instead, as if Australia Day is so shameful that you can't even mention it anymore. The evil that does not have a name. The opposition leader today called for people power.
Patrons who know the pubs that this venue, that this company owns, I would encourage them to call the company and express their view and express that they don't support this abandonment of our national day. What other country, what other Western civilization abandons its national day?
Even so, like I said, this is more of the usual, although much more of the usual. But there is something else now going on that's giving this hatred of our national day, in fact of our country, a much sharper edge. And worse, this extra hatred is funded or whipped up by people using your taxes as weak politicians flap their hands. Your taxes are being abused to attack Australia Day, even though a poll this month, as you know, showed 2/3 of Australians actually support it being held on January 26, which is the date Britain landed convicts here, and we had to start learning how to get along together, regardless of race. Two examples of this sinister change this year. The first, Queensland's University of Technology. It's going to mark Australia Day with a symposium, attacking the country as racist and inviting pro-Palestinian extremists to attack it as well. The university's boss says this symposium is going to be held in its Karoomba Institute, which is an Aboriginal educational centre, she says, with a focus on Indigenous sovereignty. So already your taxes are funding a group dedicated to dividing Australians, this country, by race. Then, this institute has invited to its symposium for Australia Day 3 speakers. There's race-baiting Senator Lydia Thorpe, who identifies as Aboriginal, even though 7 of her 8 great-grandparents were in fact white. She's posed in a headband in the colours of the Hamas terrorist group, albeit with an Arabic writing slogan praising chocolate. And at an anti-Australia Day rally 2 years ago, she claimed Aborigines were at war with white Australia.
This is a war!
Another speaker at this symposium is Randa Abdel Fattah, an academic paid $800,000 by the Albanese government to help activists like her make common cause with other left-wing groups here, especially Aboriginal ones. This is playing with fire. Now, Abdel Fattah has said she does not consider Hamas a terrorist group. She's also said she wanted to make Australia culturally unsafe for Zionists, and posted that she was inspired by female Palestinian terrorists including Dalal Mughrabi, who helped murder 38 people on a bus in Israel, 13 of them Jewish children. What the hell is the Queensland University of Technology doing? The third speaker its institute has invited is another pro-Palestinian activist, Sarah Saleh, who worked for our Human Rights Commission and has said she hates Australia.
Mate, you are not wrong. We actually do hate Australia. We're literally saying it to you. We hate the settler colonial project of Australia.
I think you can see what's going on here. It's a joining of very radical Palestinian activists and radical Aboriginal ones, along with the hard left. Done here by a university, but I've reported other examples over the past year on the ABC elsewhere. And on Sunday, Australia Day, it all comes together in Melbourne, threatening even the Australian Open, just when we're screening to the whole world the men's final. This time it's Victoria's version of The Voice, the First People's Assembly, funded by taxpayers, which is promoting Invasion Day protests on Australia Day, anti-Australia Day protests, with a link, it even gives a link to organisers of the main protests that will start from Parliament House, and police expect it to end at Melbourne Park, home of the Australian Open. Look at the picture, by the way, that they've promoted on that website. Death to Australia, says the sign on the right. Death to Australia. Police also expect this protest to link up with a pro-Palestinian one at the same time. Can you imagine how it's going to look to the watching world, to all Australia, if they do then manage to disrupt the Australian Open's men's final, or at least get their chants heard? Or imagine if police do try to stop them. Do not rule out an ugly clash. But now look at the big picture here. The surrender to the haters of this country, a minority that's got, well, Tennis Australia on the run. How weak are they? Tennis Australia refusing to make Sunday a special Australia Day at the tennis, other than playing the national anthem and flying a flag. The date, they say, is too divisive. Think divisive? What do you call those protesters about to threaten it outside? And the Melbourne City Council, also ashamed about the day, has cancelled the Australia Day parade yet again, the one that delighted families. All the activists won't like it. And the Victorian Premier, oh, talk about weak. She refused to criticise her very own First People's Assembly for using our money, taxpayers' money, to promote a protest that's got even her scared.
I think to target the Australian Open would be a disgusting act, but let's be clear, Victoria Police are operationally ready, they will be there in large numbers and they have the powers they need should any activity turn violent. They have the powers they need to arrest and to move people on.
For everyone, whether you are of the right or the left or you're conservative, or whether you're black or you're white, you're Asian, you're straight, you're gay, born here or you flew in, this hatred of Australia is now a threat to our peace and to our home.